What up, boys? What up, boys?
What's going on over there, gentlemen?
Hi.
Oh, don't try that shit, Ray. We're back in the Lions Den. You need to start roaring, kid, roaring.
Hi.
You said, what are you taking over for the Mamena since he's off today? The little house kitten.
I was trying. It's hard.
You try harder,
Ray
dude. Try
here.
harder. Man, you about made me want to just jump off a building 5 seconds ago. Hi, my name's Ray. I just love being on podcasts.
It wasn't me. It was the leprechaun.
The little leprechaun. We don't share that joke on
Stick it
Let's
up.
just say that.
Stick up your dukes.
Let's just say that Ray's a little bit old to be believing in leprechauns there, boy.
Oh, and then now anybody who knows the joke,
Yeah.
they just got it.
Yeah, no kidding. So
Oh,
back here in the Lions Den, man, for another week's edition of War Podcast. Are we ready?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I got to tell you, man, the last one we had was pretty good. You know, the who gives a shit? I think we said shit on that episode more times than I think. You know,
There's a lot of shit in that episode.
a lot of shit.
What kind of bullshit is this?
No, there we go. No pun intended. No pun intended.
Man.
I hope we got our point across. And if you
Oh,
listened to it last week, I hope you, out of all the things that we said, I hope you got the one thing that matters the most. Nobody gives a shit.
That's it. That's
Truth.
it exactly.
Truth.
Be you.
So, I mean, you know, if we can just get this episode kicked off, you know, without Ray getting caught up on his high horse, you know, like he likes
Oh,
to.
nice segue.
Oh, you like that high horse in it?
High horsing it.
You know, people tell us, get up off your high horse. You ever hear that old saying?
Yeah.
And we're here to tell you, man, you need to stay on that horse.
Stay on.
Stay on the horse.
Yeah.
That's it.
For the men
That's
listening to this podcast, you stay on that horse, brothers, and don't you ever get off it.
That's it exactly. Because the world's trying to tell you there ain't no room for you to be on that horse.
Yeah. Well, you know, every young lady says she's waiting for her white knight to come riding in on that white horse, right?
And the first thing she wants to do is boot your ass off.
Yeah,
of
first thing you want to do is knock your ass up off that horse. What's up with that?
it. Yeah, that ain't right.
Well, I
That ain't
mean,
right.
It's a
They-
toxic horse.
yeah, with the horse named Toxic.
Yeah, there you go.
Who's riding it? Masculinity?
I'm betting on toxic.
Oh my
Well, I'll tell you, man, there's a knight named Masculinity riding on a horse named Toxic.
Oh man.
Oh, man, that'll preach somewhere.
I hope, man. I hope it resonates real deep with some of the dudes listening out there. And hey, some of the ladies, if you listen to the War Podcast, we just want to say thank you for coming on and listening with us. One thing I want to make sure we make crystal clear: we do not have anything against women. We love women. We think women are great.
Yeah.
We do gear most of our conversations towards men because you know what? We want you women to have better men.
Yep.
I mean, come on.
That's it.
That's it.
Entirely. It's the only agenda.
And what woman doesn't want a man that's going to be up on that horse?
Yep.
Truth.
Because there's a lot of responsibility that comes to riding that bad boy.
And we hope you have a little fun when you listen to the podcast.
Yeah, man. Come on, don't be
Stupid
so
humor.
serious.
Well, you know the funny part is a lot of the women think they don't want a man that ride on that horse until they get the man that ain't on that horse, and then they want to be. Then they're all pissed off that he doesn't do anything.
How
He
you
doesn't
end
leave.
up with me, I'm open the car door for you. That's just the
mean,
way.
shit,
That's
if
how I
you-
roll.
Now, if you get a guy like Freddie, I mean, he gets on a Clydesdale and looks like he's riding a pony.
I am the tallest elf in the city.
Yeah, you are Freddie the tallest.
Tallest
I love
elf
that.
in the
It's
city.
no joke.
You know, that's not an oxymoron. I don't know what is. You and the word elf have no business together. I'm going to tell you right now.
That's a hell of a costume, though. I'm telling
I'll tell you what. An elf riding a friggin' Clydesdale.
Oh, jeez. If I could get some of them curly shoes,
Oh, boy, you'd look good in those. You know,
be
we
like
had a Christmas
Ray.
party last year at my house, and you dressed up like an elf, and you look great.
I appreciate
You gave
that.
Buddy the elf a run for his money, dude.
You know,
I did.
I got to tell you.
he needs to come dressed like a Christmas tree and put your trees to shame. You got a 15-foot freaking tree, and
Well, shit, he's got enough tinsel on that head and his crotch. I mean,
Well, you know,
he pulls down his britches. They say, "Let it snow, let it snow."
I've got a Chiquita banana costume.
Oh, yeah.
That might go over good.
What's that going to be? A friggin'
I just don't
Chiquita
want
banana
women
wrapped
get-
in tinfoil?
I don't want the women getting crazy after a few drinks, you know. Come here, Mr. Banana.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Mr. Hammock.
I got a
First
bad,
name Banana.
Hey, Ray's already excited thinking about it.
I got a bad picture in my head.
Speaking of bad, we want to put a shout out to our boy Mike,
Banana.
the Maina,
Oh, man.
who's hanging out in Maine.
Maina?
Yeah.
Minor not here.
We're still, it's 2 weeks he's going to be gone. And I got to tell you, we're sharpening them shears, ain't we, boys? 'Cause we're worried about the wool that we're going to have to shake off of that son of a gun when he gets back.
Might need a little trim.
Yep.
Little trim.
job. Yep.
I don't know. When he left, he sounded like he was going on a mission.
Oh yeah, huh?
He did. He sounded, but you know what? It's always easier to fall than it is to rise above.
Dude, he's talking about a mission. He's sending me pictures of sitting poolside. I don't know what mission he's on.
He ain't sending me no pictures.
Yeah, well, he's not sending me pictures of himself, if that's what you're alluding to.
All right, dude.
I mean, ever since that leprechaun joke, you've been a little bit off.
They'd be in a mission position, you know.
Yeah.
Mission.
Let's get back to the topic at hand. I mean, we're going to lose down a rabbit hole.
Can we
here.
stay on the horse?
Yeah, stay on the. Oh, nice segue.
Thank you.
Get back up on that horse, right? Ride
Now,
that
back to John.
Ride that donkey, right?
No.
Well, you know what's funny is you say that some guys are riding donkeys, just sitting on their asses. I'm telling you right now. They're sitting on their asses. And that's a problem.
I used to be that guy.
Yeah? Did you?
I did.
Yeah.
I guarantee you.
You want to share a little bit with the audience?
No.
Okay.
I guarantee you every guy's
Keep it
been
at 100,
there.
I see.
Everybody's been there.
Everybody's been there at some point. Every guy's been there.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Well, chivalry's dead only because women are killing it.
Yeah, well, not just women, but entertainment. I mean, everybody's killing.
Well,
Everybody's trying to squash.
You know what cracks me up?
The women are buying into it. Yes,
I got to put something up there to the ladies. You know, y'all spend all this time watching that damn Hallmark channel. You know,
yeah,
you're all about the love, the romance, and all this other bullshit. And then when you get a dude,
theater.
Yeah, and then when you get a dude that does those things, you get bored with him. He's boring. He's too nice.
He's a simp.
He's a simp. I mean, I want a bad boy.
What's a simp?
That's a simple
man. Somebody who actually opens the door for women and thinks about them and
gotcha.
Puts them first.
Now I'm in the know. Thanks,
puts
Ray.
themselves last.
Kind of basically what you are.
Wasn't that
You're
a song
simp.
by Leonard Skinner?
I mean, you're a simp.
Maybe.
You're a simp, Freddie. You know, you're a simp.
I am.
Yeah. we would well.
Maybe could be depending on the subject matter.
Anyway, get back on the horse, Ray. Get back on the horse.
Get back on your horse, Ray. Golly.
You know, in my eyes, the simps are what the everything everybody's trying to create are simps. You know what I mean? And these girls, when they see them, they call them simps. They make fun of them. You know,
well,
so it's like,
let's make sure we understand. I mean, there is such thing as a simp, right?
Yeah.
But what a simp is and what they're calling simps is totally different, okay?
Yeah.
A simp, basically a simp is a dude that's just weak, gonna kiss ass and do whatever she wants him to do and
Gotcha.
cater to whatever the woman wants and be a pushover and not be aggressive and, you know, be in touch with his feelings and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm one of those.
But what's happened, it's gone from that to that extreme to a simp is if a guy's nice to you and takes care of you and treats you well, he's a simp.
Yeah.
But yet every woman's watching damn Hallmark looking for a simp, and then when they get one, they don't want him.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
Okay,
I mean,
here's something I've noticed recently.
Okay.
You know, my wife watches a lot of YouTube. She watches a lot of how to do projects and dollar store hacks and things like that. But one thing I took notice of the other day, and it struck me, is all the women are doing the construction. Every channel. It seems like all the women are handling all the construction. And I don't know what the hell the men are doing. And they're making lemonade or I don't know. And I'm not against that. I'm not saying, I'm just saying that's a majority of YouTube channels now are women that are doing construction or rebuilding or remodeling and stuff like that. I've just noticed that trend.
Well, it's funny you say that because, I mean, I get busted on by my buddies. They call my wife Handy Candy, right?
Yep.
But I can tell you one thing that Handy Candy ain't doing. She ain't mowing the grass. She ain't edging the grass. She ain't weed whacking. She's not lifting heavy furniture. She's not, you know,
digging mulch out
of mulch beds. I mean, she's creative. And she makes things, and she can, you know, she messes with things like a light switch or whatever. You know, she good about that stuff because I got sausage fingers, man. You know, I'm keeping it 100. I stopped hitting so I ain't fixed something unless I broke it first. That's just me, right? But there's a big difference between that and a guy that's just incompetent.
Right.
Like we got guys that can't change tires, they can't check their own oil, they can't, you know, they can't mow, they don't mow the grass. Let me tell you something. If I drive by your house and your wife is mowing your lawn. That's a problem, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, especially if she's pushing a mower. You know what I mean? It's one thing you got to have, you know, one of them suck his raised gun at his house. I mean, the thing's got a jet engine on it.
That
and
thing's
shit,
got
right?
like a 90-inch cut. Man.
Yeah, I mean, well,
It's
we
a
want
big
to talk
deck.
about his big deck.
You got a
Okay,
big
'cause
deck.
we had an episode about that, right? I digress, right? But anyway, there's a big difference between a woman being on a riding mower and riding around because she enjoys being out. But when you look over there and there's a woman out there pushing a mower, you know, my wife will tell you flat out, she's not going outside to sweat. That's against the rules in my house. Like if somebody's going to be sweating outside, it's going to be me. Now, I still do dishes sometimes. I'll still wipe down the counters. I'll still make the bed, do some laundry. I mean, I help out with those areas too.
Right.
Because it's a partnership. But what we're talking about is we got dudes out there that can't wipe their own asses unless the wife hands them the toilet paper and it's folded a certain way.
Right. Yeah. Well, before we leave that lawn mowing thing, I actually saw on YouTube, there's this guy. His wife loves to mow the yard. Push mows.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to push mow. And he wants to do it because he doesn't, you know, his masculinity, his, you know, leadership role is I should be out there doing that physical labor. So what he does is whenever she mows the yard, he stays out in the yard, and everybody that comes out and looks at him, she wants to do it. She won't let me. She wants to do it.
Won't let me my ass. My wife wants to ride on my mower. She'll tell me,
Yeah.
I'll go out there and ride the lawnmower. No, that ain't happening.
Yeah.
You know, there's just certain things that I personally, that's me.
Yep.
I'm convicted that way, and I'm not hating on anybody else. I'm just saying that if you're a dude and you're just too lazy to do it and your wife's got to do it,
Yeah. Nah.
you can tell a difference between a woman that's mowing the grass because she wants to and because she has to.
Oh yeah. You can't.
The body language kind of lets you know. You know what I'm saying? Like she ain't happy about it.
Yeah. No, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
But, you know, that's part about being on that horse, right? When you say that you're that man, you've got to take the responsibility that comes with it. You know, and once you get up there, you just can't get off
No.
when it's convenient.
Nope.
You know, you got to be up there when it's tough. You know, it's like, you know, this morning I was out there doing the yard. Yesterday, actually, I did something with my back because I was digging up the mulch beds and everything. And I got up this morning, I had to mow the grass and do the weed whacking and the edging and all this other stuff. And I'm on my mower and I'm like, man, my back's killing me. But you know what? It's got to get done.
Yep.
You got to do it. It's your job. It's your responsibility. And you know what? The grass ain't waiting on me.
Nope. It's not. It's going to keep going.
It's going to keep growing, right? So you just got to find a way to push through it. Now, I mean, that's just in life, though. I mean, that's just an example of like grass. But I'm saying, but in life, there are certain things that we got to just push through as men. A lot of things that we're going to deal with as men are not going to be comfortable. Conversations that we got to deal with, standing our ground on what we know to be true, leading in a certain way, having certain morals or standards or you know, expectations and things like that. We got to stay up there in that horse, because as soon as we come down off of that horse and we get down on ground level, it's hard to get back up on it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Truth.
And your woman's never going to look at you the same again if you do.
Right.
You know, like we hear this thing, I just want a man to be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
I just want a man that's going to share his emotions. Yeah. Okay. And the first time he's vulnerable and shares his emotions and you get pissed off at him, what's the first thing that most women do?
Deuces.
Yeah. They're going to throw it right back at him or deuces, right?
Yep.
Now, listen, growing, you know, real men cry. Yes, I've cried. I've had emotions. I do. You know, I get emotional.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, you can't live in those moments.
Right.
Those are few and far between, because you've got to make sure that you're living up to the role that you've been put there to do, and that's to lead your family, to lead your kids and your wife, to lead in the community. For those guys that go to church, to lead in the church, to lead in the workplace. You know, you can't get caught up in your feelers, man.
Yeah.
You know, they say that men are logical creatures and women are emotional creatures,
And that, yeah, true.
and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, it's like there seems to be something, I think, missing in the generations coming up, and some of our generation too. And that's that, like, I was going to do something and my wife told me, she goes, you know, you don't have to do that. And I'm like, no, I do. I do have to do that. Like you said, your back was hurting or whatever. I was like, no, I have to do this. This has to be done. I have to get it done. And I don't know how to explain it, but nowadays it's like oh, my pinky toe hurts, I don't want to do it. Even in the pro ball players, back when, and here's some this is gonna stir some shit up. Back when the GOAT was playing, Michael Jordan was playing. He played with the damn flu in one of the championships.
Oh yeah.
He's played. I mean, those guys used to play beat up. Look at the old football players playing with broken arms, broken legs, tore up knees. Now
Jack Lambert or Youngblood, he played for the Rams. He played with a broken leg.
Yeah, but that's what I'm getting at is that sense of, no, people are counting on me, whether it be a team or whether it be your family. People are counting on me to get this done, and it seems to be like that's not there anymore. I think that's a huge part of being a man.
Well, when you put it on when you're a dude, right, and you put it all on your wife, if she gives you the green light, then hey, she's the boss. I just do whatever she tells me. That's a punk.
Yeah.
I mean, men don't realize, how much stress you're putting on your spouse when you make her responsible for making all the decisions.
Right.
When you make her responsible for all the discipline with your children. When you make her responsible for all the finances. You're putting an undue amount of stress on that woman.
Right.
And, there's an old saying, if you want to know what kind of man you are, look at the countenance of your wife's face.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know what kind of husband you are, look at your wife.
Yeah.
If your wife is miserable and moody and tired and frustrated and unhappy all the time, you might want to look at yourself and ask yourself some tough questions like, why?
Not what's her problem.
What's my problem?
Yeah.
And that's part of it, because you got up off of your donkey. Because you weren't on a horse, you were sitting on your ass.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get up off of that and you put her in a position where she has to lead, where she has to do all the things that she shouldn't have to be doing.
Right.
I was talking to my daughter the other day, and we were talking about roles, and I mentioned this in the last podcast about, her mom and I. There were certain roles that we play in our marriage. Mm-hmm. There are things that I did as a husband that afforded her to do the things that she could do as a wife, as a mom.
Right.
Like she was able to go on the field trips.
Mm-hmm.
She was able to take the kids on little day trips and go do certain things. And I was telling the other kids the other night, we were eating dinner, I said, there's a lot of pictures I'm not in them.
Yep.
And I said it has a mixed emotion there, right? There's a feeling of loss and regret to some degree, but then there's a feeling of pride and joy, because even though I wasn't there, I know that I was doing what I had to do to be able to afford my wife the right to be there.
Right.
And my wife was raising our kids and spending time with our kids and doing things with our children, and it wasn't somebody else. And so, as much as it hurt me not to be there, and I told you guys this a couple of Father's Days ago, about 3 of them, I think it was. I spent the time by myself on my front porch, and I wept, thinking about not how good of a father I was, but some of the things that I failed as being a father, or as I looked at as things that I missed out on.
Right.
But as you reflect and you look back on it, you start saying, I had to be on that horse.
Yep.
I had to be the provider. I had to be the leader. I had to be the one that sacrificed. And sometimes that sucks. But when you look at the fruits of your labor and you look at, the totality of what it did for your children, like when I sit down and I listen to my kids talk, it's amazing how much of their father I hear in them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You think, their mom was with them. They spent all this time together, and I lost this and lost that. But when I start having conversation with them about life,
right,
and the important things, I hear myself.
Yeah.
So it's like, maybe you didn't have that time, but you had that impact.
Correct.
Because it wasn't about what you said, it's about what you do.
You set the tone.
Right.
You set the tone of the whole family.
Yeah. And part of that, like we're talking about today on this podcast, is being on that horse. They look up to that horse. They see their father there, doing what he's supposed to be doing as a man, as a husband, as a father. And, you don't stay on the horse constantly. You got to get up off and on it in certain times and different phases in your life. But for the most part, you're going
to stay on it.
This life is a battle, right?
Yeah.
You ride your horse in a battle.
Yeah, and if you're not married, say you're younger, because we've started to realize that we are actually appealing to some of the younger generations, like not the one below us, but the one below that.
Yes.
Like the younger generation.
They're starved.
Yeah, they are. And they're confused, because they feel one way and they're being force-fed another. So they're actually out there looking for stuff like this. So even if you're not married, even if you've got a girlfriend, it's the same thing. You know what I mean? It's you have to live that life. You have to stay on that horse. You have to allow your significant other, because as we've seen in past podcasts, that people aren't getting married. A lot of them aren't getting married anymore.
Well, you know, we talk a lot here in the Lions Den about raising up lions, but I want to take it a step further. I mean, for those men, those young dudes that listen, we're trying to build up unicorns.
Huh?
And when I say unicorns, it's a mythical creature that people don't think exists, and they're very rare, right?
Gotcha.
And right now, we want young men to be rare.
Yeah.
We want them to be extraordinary. We want them to be mythical in the sense of, does this actually really truly exist?
Holy shit, I found one.
Yeah, I found one. And you know
we're
what?
talking real men.
Yes, real men. Dudes that are young that are listening to this going, okay, what's going to separate me from the other dudes that are out there? Well, we already know, based upon statistics, there are more 30-plus-year-old women out there that are not married than ever in the history of our country.
Right.
Most of them have children out of wedlock. They can't find a decent guy.
Right. A real man.
A real man. A unicorn.
A unicorn. Yep.
That's what we're becoming. Real men are becoming unicorns.
You know.
And that's what these young dudes that are listening, that's what you need to be thinking about. Yeah, we want you to be a young lion, but we also want you to be like a unicorn in this world, because when a girl finally grabs a hold of a dude that's up on that horse, that's really living that life, you're going to friggin' blow her mind.
Yep.
When she knows that you're a selfless, masculine, sacrificial, dedicated, loyal, committed dude that's going to do whatever it takes to do the things that he's responsible for and take care of who's under him, to be a protector, a provider, a lover, a friend, a companion, all these different things. That's like a unicorn right now, dude. They don't exist.
Right. They don't. And I was going to say something else, but I think this is more important. And women, when you find that unicorn, you find that man on that horse, don't abuse him. Don't abuse what he's willing to sacrifice for you. Because if you abuse it, they will leave.
Oh, yeah.
That unicorn, that man will take off.
And there's 100 women behind you that would do anything to be with a guy like that.
Yep.
Don't fool yourself, man. You know, we get these girls out there, these young girls out there. You think you can just abuse your man and talk to him any way you want to, and he's to cater to you and kiss your ass and pander to you. And what's going to happen is you're going to lose a decent guy, and then somebody else that's just starving to have a decent man in their life, they're going to latch a hold of that dude and never shake him loose.
That's it.
And you're going to be sitting there in your 30s going, what happened? And most ladies that are listening, if you are listening, you are in your mid-30s or whatever, you know what I'm saying is true. Yeah. There are women that are probably in their 40s and 50s right now that are listening to this that may be single that are going, he's right, because it's a good man. It's hard to come by.
Mm-hmm. Because
most of the dudes that be coming up behind us now, they don't think like that. They're not riding horses. They're sitting on donkeys.
Well, we've seen that, and a lot of the mindset nowadays is, if the guys is, why am I going to bother? You know, they're not gonna appreciate what I'm willing to offer them. So why am I going to bother?
Well, they have everything to lose.
Right. But that's the mindset that's happening, and you can't think like that. You can't let the world tell you how you're gonna be.
Well, here's the thing, and this is just for the ladies that are listening, especially you single moms out there. When you bring a man into your life, you take the whole package. You know, you talk about kids being a package deal, and I get it, and and a real man respects that. But I'm gonna tell you what men don't respect: disrespect.
Right.
And when one of the best ways you can disrespect a man is by telling him that your kid is more important than he is.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. I mean, as believers, we have a certain hierarchy in our lives. It's God, it's your spouse, it's your kids. And if you're serious in a serious relationship with a guy that you actually want to bring around your children and you're willing to live with them or whatever, it needs to be God, him, and then your children. And it should be that way if the guy's a decent guy anyway, right?
Right.
But we got a culture right now. It's like, you can shower my kids with gifts and you can love them and play with them and take care of them, but don't you spank them, don't you discipline them. They're not your kids. It don't work that way, man. You can't have it both ways. I'm sorry. Part of love is discipline.
Right.
You know, the word tells us that a man that doesn't discipline his child don't love his child. Spare the rod, spoil the child.
Yep.
I mean, you know, when you don't instill those things in your children, that's not love.
Right.
They don't need friends, they need parents. And, you know, if you want a man that's riding on a horse, every time that he disciplines your kid and you get up on him, you're knocking him off that horse and you're putting yourself on it.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty soon what's going to happen is, yeah, you may get up on the horse, you may be riding a horse, but you're going to be riding by yourself.
Yep.
And you're going to get what you give. You give disrespect, you're going to get disrespect. You know, you give respect, you get respect. That's just how the world works. That's how men work. You know, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are living in this delusion, like especially some young women out there. You think you say you want this kind of a man, but then you don't want to give up anything that it takes to get that kind of a man. And then when you have the rarity of that man, you take advantage of it or you don't appreciate it. And guess what? Like I said, I'm not joking. There's 100 of them behind them that'll come right behind you and snatch them up in a heartbeat. Because you know what? They've been down that road. They've been down the road of saying, well, I didn't appreciate it when I should have, and now I've lost it and I know the value of it now that it's gone. But the guys, too, that are listening to this podcast, you need to understand that you're on that horse for a reason. And you better know how to ride that sumbitch. And you better be willing to take what comes with it. The bumps, the bruises, the heartache, the frustration, the disappointment, the insecurity sometimes. Sometimes you feel underappreciated. Those things happen. But that's why men can't get caught up in their feelings. Stick to what you know is true. And ride that thing like you ain't never run it before. Because you know what? You got people depending on you. And those people are looking to you. And we need more men like that. It's a shame that we would even think about saying that a good man is a unicorn, but it's the truth. Those guys that are listening to this podcast, we're trying to raise up young lions. But you know, lions aren't rare. Unicorns are. And right now, a good man's hard to come by. And ladies, when you get your hands on one, you better hold on with everything you got. Because when you do that, my friends, well, hell, that's where the rubber meets the road.